guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below for more content. So today we are going to be talking about applying to university, whether it is your bachelor's, undergrad, or a postgrad program, a master's or MA. I'm just here to tell you some tips and things that you should consider when applying and choosing your universities, whether it's in the Caribbean or if you're applying to the UK, because those are the places that I applied to. But I decided to stay in the Caribbean because of finances. So I did my undergraduate in Barbados at the University of the West Indies, Cayville campus, Blackbird. But I did apply to the UK when I wanted to do my undergraduate. I applied through UCAS, and the universities that I applied to were Lancaster, Leicester, Southampton, Bristol, and there was one other one because it's five, right? Royal Holloway. So I applied to those five, and I did get conditional acceptance offers from I think 3 or 4 of them, which was Royal Holloway, Bristol, Southampton, and Lancaster. So some things that you would want to consider. I know a lot of us, we're so focused on ranking, university rankings, and that is important when looking for jobs after, but also in thinking about the quality of work you could produce when you're finished, because it depends on the standard of work that is required by the university. That's what makes you more eligible for a job and competent in completing your task. But some other things that you should consider are, firstly, your passion. What is it that you want to do? Is it medicine? Is it geography? I applied to the UK for geography and geology. So you just have to find what you want to do. Once you know that, then you go looking in the ranking table. So we're already thinking about rankings. So instead of just doing general university rankings, I would say do ranking by subject. So you would go, for me, I went through geography tables or maybe environmental sciences and saw how the schools ranked based on those areas. From that, then maybe you can choose your top 5 universities that you want to go to. Or maybe your school is telling you about these universities. So choose those and then look at the programs that they offer. Look at the program and see if it's what you want it to be, if it's what you think it should have been in terms of the modules that you'd like to cover. Maybe there are particular areas. Maybe you're doing marketing or something and you want to do something on video editing or video production. Look to see if it's tailored to what you want. Also, you may want to consider if it has different elements to the program. Is there an internship which would allow you to go into industry, get some experience and meet some professionals, and also build up your CV? Is there opportunities? Is it practical versus theoretical? If you're doing something like computer sciences, you might want to do something that is more practical, where you go work with a company for a bit and things like that. So you're not just about the theory, because everybody could just read things online these days. So that's something you should think about when looking at a program and looking at the school. But something else that you should think about is location. This is very important for me because I was coming from the Caribbean, and when I was applying to my undergrad, I mentioned the schools that I applied to, but for my postgrad, I applied to Lancaster, Birmingham, Queen Mary, Imperial, and Bristol again, and that was for hydrology, environmental science related things. So I got accepted to Lancaster, Bristol, Imperial, but I didn't really pay too much attention after I got accepted to Imperial, because that's the first one I sent off. That was my first choice. And why it was my first choice is not only is it ranked really highly for engineering, so I did civil and environmental engineering master's program. It was based in London, so that's something you want to consider. Is the location right for you? I think location is very important when thinking about your well-being and mental state. This is because you want to make sure that you're not too isolated. Do you want to be in a big city, or do you want to be in a small town area? Do you want to go to Durham, or do you want to be in like Birmingham, London? For me, I chose London because I was like, you know what? I am moving all alone from the Caribbean, from a sunny place to great old London. I had been to the UK once before, and I was in up north, and I realized it was getting really dark in the summer, and it would make me so sad. I was like, no, I should probably go to London where, there's so much more to distract me if I ever get sad and lonely. So I chose that. And my cousin, she went to Lancaster and she told me it gets pretty grey and cold and lonely. So just for my sanity and the sake of, being healthy mentally and physically, I chose to come to London. So that's something you should consider. Maybe you're considering not going too far from home, and also in thinking about location, think about pricing, because London is pretty expensive. Because if you go to like another university, for example Durham, you could walk to school and save money. So that's something else you can think about. Third thing, and I think this is really important, especially for master's students when you're applying for your master's program, is access to professionals. You want to this is kind of a combination of point 1 and point 2, in terms of you want to look for the places, the location, based on your program. Where do you think you can get most access to professionals in that area? For example, if you're studying finances, London is the financial hub, financial district of Europe. That's what they say, right? You might want to come to London to do your undergraduate, or even better for your master's, because then you're really going out to look for a postgraduate opportunity. So you want to think of, in this city, in this town, can I get access to top professionals? Can I get to go easily to different companies? Do companies come into the schools? These kind of things. Again, that comes back to program structure and the professional development skills that are offered by a university. So look into all of those things, because networking is key in getting a job, especially when you finish your master's program. Alright, so you've thought about these things, and now it's time to apply. So, key to applying, first thing they're going to ask you for is a personal statement, both for your undergrad and your master's program. For undergrad, you do it through UCAS, UCAS. I don't know if it's changed since I've done it, but I think I had like 5 choices of a university, and you had to write 1 personal statement. So my top tip for this would be, whenever you're writing your personal statement, because it kind of has to cover for 5 different courses, you want it to be generic in a sense, but not too generic, but personalized to you. So it should cover the requirements of each of those programs. And tip 1 for putting this all together, try to make it as natural as possible. Don't make it too over the top. I look back at my my personal statement, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I didn't always want to be this, but try to avoid statements such as, I've always wanted to study blah blah blah. Have you always wanted to study geography or not? I don't know. So avoid over the top statements, but most importantly, give evidence. Don't just tell them, oh, I'm charismatic, I am resourceful, I have good group work and networking skills, I am passionate about this. Don't just say it. Show them. Tell them, are you a part of a club? Did you lead a club? Show your leadership skills. Show your passion. Tell them what you're passionate about, but also just make sure you are able to cover all the requirements for the different courses in that letter. And maybe have a first choice. Try and make sure you capture the essence of yourself. Sell yourself to them as the candidate that they want to see. Why you want to do the program, what has led you up to this point to want to do the program, what kind of skills you have for it, and maybe you want to say what in the future you want to do, that why you doing this program. Okay. And then on that foot, for your master's program, something that you would want to do is, again, say why has led you to this point. But for a lot of us in masters, because I was one of these, my undergraduate was different than my master's program. So you might want to say why you decided to switch, or why you're pursuing this area instead, why you didn't do this in your undergrad. So in my undergrad, I did mathematics and earth sciences at the University of West Indies, and then I did my first master's in hydrology and water resource management. So that was moving from natural sciences to civil and environmental engineering. And I gave account for why I did this. I said, you know, the I said the earth sciences major was not available at Cavill, so I did mathematics as an earth scientist. And I thought this combination would give me a good basis or good footing, good background to pursue later research in environmental engineering and sciences. So something like that would work. I do remember I had one of those I've always wanted to, and I gave it to one of my lecturers, and she said, "No, have you always wanted to?" So that's why I give you that tip. Also, the next thing you'd want to consider are your references. So try to make sure it's lecturers that you are familiar with, who are familiar with you, and they're not gonna write crap or something too generic. These are very important. So try and liaise with your supervisors, your lecturers, and get your references when needed and as early as possible. So the next thing that a lot of people have to do are interviews. So I did not have to do an interview for my undergraduate program. As I mentioned, I did go to UE instead of coming to the UK, so that didn't require me to do an interview or a personal statement actually. Or did I? Was it something brief? And that was 5 years ago. I don't remember. Almost no, 6 years ago. I don't remember. I only had to do one for my second master's, which was my master's in hydrology and in climate change, master's in climate change management and finance. And I just had a brief interview, so I sent in my personal statement. They had some application questions, which I'd get to that, and then I had my interview. Once they said, "Okay, this is your last step, your interview. You just want to prepare for that." So for a lot of master's programs, they will ask you as part of the application, especially if you're applying for business school. So I did my second master's at Imperial College Business School. Passed the application, which I found out from going to the school, is that they require you to do some future career planning questions, and they reserve the right to not look at your application if they don't think you have a good purpose for wanting to do the program. Some of these questions are like, what are your goals in the next 5 years? What are the obstacles you think would hinder you from achieving these goals? Why you chose to do the program? How does this program assist in your career development? And you want to make sure you think about these and answer them really well and tie it back to maybe your past experiences, your passion, and think about where you want to go. So some things that I said, well, in terms of doing a PhD, this would allow me to combine the knowledge from the hydrology and mathematics area to do policy, climate finance related things. Yeah. I don't remember exactly what I said. And then maybe your 5-year goals, 3-year goals, 3-year short-term goals. I did put down my PhD, or I said working at an international organization, and I said the things that would maybe hinder me from doing my PhD would be funding, and in the 5-year long-term goal, I did say working at an international organization, and they asked how you wanted to achieve this, and I said something like maybe doing the young professionals program or doing an internship and trying to get acquainted with the organization, blah blah blah, yada yada. Yeah, so that's something else that comes up in master's application. So I know it could be a bit hectic, challenging, and overwhelming when doing applications for uni or anything, jobs, anything. It could be really, really frustrating and overwhelming. But just take your time, make sure you sit down and plan ahead. Don't just start today for tomorrow. Maybe a 3 months leading up to that. Get a feel of what it is like to go to university, what it is like at that university. So for me, I couldn't go to open days because I was in the Caribbean, and obviously I wasn't going to travel to the UK to go to the school. So if you're from the Caribbean or overseas and you are vacationing in the UK, maybe take the opportunity to go to the school and just see what it's like. A lot of schools have tours. Just go and see what it's like. But for people like me, you could already prospect us. And this is from the view of the school, their marketing team. So maybe don't take everything as you see it. But the important thing and the good thing about the generation that we are in now is there is YouTube. And a lot of people making videos like me. What does that say? Anyways, so there are a lot of people who make videos about their university. So go on YouTube, just search university, maybe not just the university page, but maybe students who are going to the university, see what it's like, what are their thoughts and impressions, things that they like, just to get a feel, look at the background, the surroundings. Is it what you want? Is it the greenery you want? Is it the concrete jungle that you want? The pollution, whatever. So think about these things. You have to first choose your program, decide on the location you want to go. Is it the best fit for you financially, mentally, and for your career goals? And then you do your application process. Maybe you have to consider application fees, if this is what you want or not. And then you put your best foot forward with your personal statement, your interview questions for both the interview and the application. Once you've got all those details, you're ready to send off the application, but make sure that you bear in mind application deadlines. Also look at scholarship deadlines. Make sure you apply before those deadlines, maybe well in advance. Look at different scholarships available. Do you have to apply separately for the scholarship, or are you considered once you send in your application? So this is something else that you think about, because any assistance financially is great assistance. Good luck applying to schools. You're gonna ace it, you're gonna get accepted, and just if you are doing a program now, just try your best so that you'll be able to meet those conditions. So thank you for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Have a good day, morning, and night whenever you're watching this, and good luck in whatever schooling you're doing or any applications, scholarships, anything, and all the best for the future. Bye.